The Bee Gees first achieved success in Australia in 1966 with the single Spicks and Specks, but their real breakthrough came when they returned to England in 1967 and signed with manager Robert Stigwood. The album New York Mining Disaster 1941, released that same year, put the Bee Gees on the international music map. In the 1970s, the Bee Gees became icons of the disco era with the soundtrack to the film Saturday Night Fever, 1977, one of the best-selling albums of all time. Songs like Stayin' Alive, How Deep Is Your Love, and Night Fever not only dominated the charts, but also shaped popular culture. The album earned the Bee Gees 3 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year, and Casey Kasem of American Top 40 called them brothers with platinum voices. In addition to the Bee Gees, Barry Gibb has also established himself as a songwriter and producer. He has written or co-written 16 #1 songs on the Billboard Hot 100, tying the tally with John Lennon and Paul McCartney. His hits for other artists include Islands in the Stream for Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, Guilty for Barbra Streisand, and Heartbreaker for Dionne Warwick. In 1994, Barry and his brothers were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, and in 1997, the Bee Gees were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2018, he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his services to music and charity. Barry's career has not always been smooth sailing, however. In the early 1970s, the Bee Gees suffered a difficult period when albums such as Life in a Tin Can, 1973, and Mr. Natural, 1974, was not well received by the public. Barry once admitted that during this period, he and his brothers were torn apart by drugs and alcohol, which nearly led to their breakup. "We did stupid, childish things," he said, "and I was a bit of a junkie." The failure left Barry crying many nights, fearing that their musical dreams were over. Another setback came in the 1980s when the anti-disco backlash turned the Bee Gees against the public. Many radio stations refused to play their music, and the band was considered out of date. Barry once shared with IMDb that before Saturday Night Fever, the Bee Gees were pretty much dead in the water, without a hit for 3 years. During this period, he faced financial pressure and a sense of being forgotten, which led him to wonder many times whether he should give up music. In 1994, the Bee Gees were scheduled to tour to promote Size Isn't Everything, but Barry was forced to cancel due to arthritis in his back, right hand, and knee. This was a huge blow, as he had always considered the stage his place. The physical pain and frustration of not being able to perform drove him into a state of despair, even to the point of considering retirement. Throughout his career, Barry struggled to keep the Bee Gees together and stay creative. One of the moments that brought him to tears was when he wrote Stayin' Alive. In a cramped studio in France, Barry and his brothers worked tirelessly, despite poor conditions and pressure from their record label. When the song was finished and became an icon, Barry said he cried because he felt like they had overcome all barriers. Another time, when working with Barbra Streisand on the album Guilty, 1980, Barry spent months making sure every note was perfect. He once said that one night he sat alone in the studio, listening to the demo over and over again, crying because he feared he wasn't good enough to meet Streisand's expectations. But when the album sold 15 million copies, he realized that the tears were worth it. The loss of his brothers also motivated Barry to continue. After Maurice's death in 2003, he decided to release the solo albums Now Voyager, 1984, and later Greenfields, 2021, as a tribute to them. Every time he entered the studio without Robin or Maurice, Barry had to hold back tears, but he said, "I had to keep going because music is how I keep them alive." Barry Gibb was not only an artist, but also a man of great ambition. His ultimate goal was to leave a lasting musical legacy, not just for the Bee Gees, but for future generations. I want our music to live on forever, and I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that happens, he said in a 2020 interview with the New York Times. One of the achievements Barry always aimed for was to become the world's #1 songwriter. With 16 songs reaching #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, he achieved this, but he didn't stop there. He continued to write for other artists, from Barbra Streisand to Tina Turner, hoping that each song would be a classic. Barry also yearned for recognition as a solo artist. After the Bee Gees disbanded, he released albums like Now Voyager, 1984, Hawks, 1988, and Greenfields, 2021, proving that he could be successful without the band's fame. Greenfields, a collection of country-inspired Bee Gees songs, is a testament to his constant effort to innovate and keep his music fresh. In addition, Barry has always strived to be a role model, father, and husband. He told People in 2013, "I'm happiest when I'm a grandfather. I want my grandchildren to grow up listening to the Bee Gees, knowing that their grandfather lived a meaningful life." Balancing his career and family is something Barry has always strived to achieve, even though he sometimes has to sacrifice time with his children to pursue music. Barry Gibb's love and marriage story is both romantic and challenging. He first married Maureen Bates in 1966, aged 19. The marriage took place in Australia, where the Gibb family had moved in the late 1950s. However, his marriage to Maureen did not last long. They divorced in July 1970, just months before Barry met Linda Gray, the woman of his life. Little is known about Maureen, and Barry rarely spoke about his first marriage, but he has said that at 19 he was not ready for the responsibilities of a husband. His relationship with Linda Gray began as a love at first sight. They met in September 1967 on the set of Top of the Pops in London, where Linda, who had just won the Miss Edinburgh title, was hosting the show while the Bee Gees performed their hit Massachusetts. "We just saw each other across the room, and something happened," Barry told The Sun in 2021. Linda also remembers the moment when her girlfriends whispered that Barry was looking at her with a passionate gaze. They quickly started dating, and on September 1, 1970, Barry's 24th birthday, they married at Caxton Hall, London. Barry and Linda's marriage lasted more than 54 years, a rarity in the entertainment industry. However, things were not always smooth. Barry revealed to the New York Post in 2016 that they both faced temptations. Australian tennis player Yvonne Goolagong once tried to ask Barry out, and Linda was asked to go for a motorbike ride by actor Steve McQueen. However, they always chose to stay together, thanks to the deep love and humor they shared. Linda was a very special person, Barry told Piers Morgan in 2017. "She was loving, fun-loving, and we laughed a lot." Barry was not immune to the sadness of their marriage, though. One of the biggest challenges came when Linda became pregnant with their daughter Alexandra in 1991. She contracted an infection from one of her sons, causing Alexandra to be born nearly 4 months premature and weighing just 1 pound 9 ounces. Barry has said that he prayed every night for his daughter to survive, and that the period was one of the most stressful in their marriage. Thankfully, Alexandra pulled through, but the memory of those days still makes Barry emotional. Barry and Linda have 5 children: Stephen, born 1973, Ashley, born 1977, Travis, born 1981, Michael, born 1984, and Alexandra, born 1991. Each of them has inherited their parents' personalities and talents, and Barry is proud of them, although he admits that his busy career sometimes leaves him short on time for his family. Stephen Gibb. Born in London and raised in Miami, Stephen followed in his father's musical footsteps, becoming a professional guitarist. He has played in rock and metal bands such as Black Label Society and Crowbar. Stephen has been married to Gloria Levis since 2002 and has 2 children, Angus and Nina. In 2020, Stephen posted an Instagram post celebrating his parents' 50th wedding anniversary, writing, "You both inspire me to be a better man." Ashley Gibb. Born in 1977, Ashley initially did not pursue music, focusing on tennis. However, thanks to the influence of his family, he became involved in songwriting and music production, most notably collaborating with Barbra Streisand on the album Guilty Pleasures, 2005. Ashley has a son, Lucas John Crompton, born in 2003. Travis Gibb. Born in 1981, Travis chose a path outside the spotlight, working as a real estate agent in Miami. He is married to Stacy Bash Gibb and has 2 children, Layla and Liam. Travis regularly shares about his family life on Instagram, from hiking trips to his children's birthdays. Michael Gibb. Born in 1984, Michael was named after Barry's close friend, Michael Jackson, who is also his godfather. Michael pursued acting and has 6 credits. He was seen with his father at the 2018 Buckingham Palace knighthood ceremony. Alexandra Gibb, the youngest daughter, born in 1991, was a great joy for Barry and Linda, especially after she survived a dangerous premature birth. Alexandra kept a relatively private life, but Barry always referred to her as the light of the family. Barry told People in 1989 that he always took his children on tour to keep the family close. However, he also admitted that there were times when he felt guilty about not being with them as much as he would have liked, especially in the 1970s when the Bee Gees were at the height of their fame. The moments when he sang Silent Night with his children on Cilla Black's Christmas show in 1983 are precious.